Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Make a Game. This is Snackrificial Chamber, episode 17, and today I added both a main menu and level end states to better manage transitions between gameplay states. To start things off, I added win and lose level topics to end gameplay based on whether or not conditions were met. And I also added win and lose level triggers to change the gameplay state on those same conditions. Within my gameplay scene, I created a new panel to display when a level ends. If the player did not meet the conditions of the level, the text will be set to tell them which condition was not met. On the other hand, if they do meet the conditions, the text will instead congratulate them and prompt them to try the next level. I created a new master class to manage this panel called Level End Master. This class will set the message to whatever was received from the topic and display a different set of buttons based on the outcome of the level. This class also contains the button functions for the panel. The retry function, which returns the player to the solve state without rebuilding the level. The select function, which returns the player to the level select menu. And the quit function, which returns the player to the main menu. Within the deploy state behavior class, I removed the load level topic and trigger, but added win and lose topics and triggers as a replacement. These both add an extra step between the deploy and load states in order to deliver feedback on the most recent level. Winning and losing will trigger the level end panel from earlier to be displayed. I created new state behaviors called win state behavior and lose state behavior. These classes are relatively simple and only set up topics for triggering the next state. Both of these states can transition to the solve or load states, while the win state can also load the main menu to exit the gameplay loop. Here's a physical view of my gameplay state machine. Here's the deploy state behavior, which handles deploying the chickens and checking for a win or loss. This was initially connected right back to the load state, which handles the level select menu. It now connects to the new win and loss states here and here, which handle the level end messages and transitions I just talked about. I also made a small change to solve state behavior, just to make sure the level end panel was hidden when entering this state, so the player can start placing tracks again. In order to trigger these new states, I need to send a message when I public the topic to change the state. So in win condition master, I created a function to check whether or not a fail message exists and to trigger the level end coroutine if one does, or if I decide to end the level regardless. I then went through and updated my requirement checks to return strings instead of booleans. I updated the early fail check here, as well as the specific ritual circle checks here and here. The return messages all give some information on why the conditions were not met, so the player knows what to look for next time. Now within the end level coroutine, if a fail message exists, the lose level state will trigger, otherwise the win state will trigger and the appropriate messages will be displayed to the player. Within this batch of changes, I also added a main menu. I already had created a main menu scene and added functionality to load a level in the background to run as long as the player was in the scene. To make it a functional menu, I also added a few buttons to play and quit the game. and within the main menu masterclass, I added the methods to support those new buttons. I made one more change to the gameplay state machine. When I transition to the gameplay state from the main menu, I want to make sure the whole scene is loaded before I try to initialize anything. So I move the initialization of the load state behavior to a coroutine that calls itself until the necessary components are ready to be initialized. This prevents a misfire of the state machine, which could cause the game to enter an unplayable state. That's all I have for this episode. I added win and lose states to help relay information back to the player on how they did within the level, and I added a main menu just to help me transition between entering the application and starting gameplay. If you like this episode, you can subscribe to my channel on the left, or if you want to see more, you can click the video links on the right. If you have suggestions, you can leave a comment or reach out to me on Twitter. Thanks for watching.